Today I thought that we would make a devil's food cake because chocolate is always the answer. And I wanted to use one of these fun shaped pans that we can check out at the Wellesley Free Library. This one's a little house, and we have bears and witches and trains, all sorts of stuff, so they're very fun. Now when you do a pan, you really want to grease it and flour it, and I find with all these little nooks and crannies, using some spray, the Baker's Joy, which is oil and flour together, works best. If you have a small person who is happy to get their hands all buttery, feel free to use them to get all the nooks and crannies greased. So, for our ingredients, we need 4 ounces of chopped dark chocolate, unsweetened, semi-sweet, you can kind of decide. We're gonna have a 1/4 cup of cocoa, and I recommend using something like a Drost and not Hershey's. They're processed slightly different and the flavor will be better if you don't use Hershey's. We have a teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I have 1/2 cup of sour cream, 2 whole sticks of butter, 1.5 cups of flour. If you sift it, it'll make a slightly lighter cake, but it'll work even if you don't. 1.5 cups of dark brown sugar, 3 eggs, and of course, some vanilla, about a teaspoon. So the first thing that you want to do is take 1.25 cups of boiling water and put it on top of your chopped chocolate and let it sit for a few minutes to soften the chocolate. And put the cocoa in as well. Give that a bit of a stir. And I'm going to let that sit. Now while the chocolate is sitting and melting, I put my 2 sticks of butter in my mixer and I just mix those up. When the butter's soft, I'm going to add my brown sugar and mix. Okay, so now our butter and sugar are all mixed together very well. You can see it's completely blended. We're going to start adding the eggs. And you add the eggs one at a time, and you scrape between each one. And I learned from my last time, so I'm going to crack them into a bowl first so that when I get some shell, I can pick it out. Okay, 3 eggs. After you add the eggs, you're going to add your 1/2 cup of sour cream and your vanilla and mix well. Okay, now to add the flour and the chocolate. As you can see now, my chocolate's all melted nicely. I'm gonna put my salt and my baking soda. And you can see I've taken my mixer, the bowl off of my electric mixer. You want to mix the chocolate and the flour fairly gently. When you mix really vigorously, it activates the gluten in the flour and it makes the cake tougher. So we're going to do 1/3 of the flour, 1/2 the chocolate, 1/3 of the flour, 1/2 the chocolate, last 1/3 of the flour. Now, this recipe makes enough for 3 8-inch cakes, so I'm probably not going to fit all my batter into my pan. And I'm filling it about 1/3 to 1/2, and it's fitting most of it. It's fitting most of it in there. And the recipe calls for this cake to cook for about 20 to 25 minutes, but because I'm baking it in a different shape, what I'll probably do is set it for 20 minutes in my preheated oven, and then I'll check it and just cook it until it comes out clean. So my mic went out again here for this little section, but I did end up cooking the cake for 40 minutes, not 20 minutes, and I've let it cool for 15 until the pan is cool enough to touch. And then I flip it over onto the rack and make sure that it comes out nicely. Looks great. And now it's going to cool completely before I ice it, or the icing will melt. So our cake is cooled and I've put it on the plate. Now because it has the indent design, I can see that there's a door and a couple windows. So one very easy way to ice a cake is to just either use a icing bag with a little star attachment, or if you go to the supermarket, they sell pre-made icing and you can buy the little plastic tips. And all you do is just squeeze little stars. So there's some windows. This icing that I've made is a very simple icing. It is 6 cups of confectioner sugar. It's 2 sticks of butter. It's half a cup of vegetable shortening. Crisco is the most common kind. 2 tablespoons of water, give or take. 2 tablespoons of vanilla, a little pinch of salt. You just beat it up for 3 to 5 minutes so it gets nice and fluffy. Very simple. If it needs a little more looseness, you add a little bit of water. If it needs to be stiffer, you add a little more sugar. And what I did is I put some to be white, but I want my chocolate cake to be brown. And so I have just added about half a cup of cocoa powder to that basic icing and mixed it up so that I can cover the whole cake. So let's do that. Okay, as you can see, this is a pretty easy way to make a cake. It's that way, right? I gave my cake a blue door. I don't know if you can see, I got a little blue when I did the blue door on my brown, so it's very forgiving. You can just cover up any mistakes, fill in any bits that you don't like. It's a little messy way to do it, but maybe that's just me. I'm a bit of a messy cook, so there you have it, a beautiful chocolate house cake.